Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Happy Saturday. I hope you guys had a great week. We are here once again. We are going to be playing some Underdog Fantasy here. But first and foremost, like always, just want to thank Underdog Fantasy for the partnership. If you are a new customer and you download Underdog and use my code TJS when signing up, you will get $100 bonus if you place a $5 wager. That's $100 for just a $5 wager. So use that code TJS, play along with me here, and let's have some fun. Let's try to win some money. You know what to do. All right, so disclaimer for anyone who is new here. The whole point of what I'm trying to do is I do bigger tickets. I'm going to do the full 8 of each and every ticket I can. Because I'm trying to hit home runs. I'm doing this for fun. I'm not trying, I'm trying to win money, but I'm not trying to take this as the strategic best way to win money. You know what I mean? Like, what I recommend for you is to divvy this up to 2 to 3 tickets, on the ones you think, or if you want to play full 8 because you just want to make Sundays more interesting like I do, go ahead and do that. But I always want to say, trust your gut, trust what you think. I'm just here to give my can't even speak this morning, my God. I'm just here to give my opinion, my analytical side of what I'm thinking and the reasons behind it and why I think certain players are going to hit and not hit. So, like I said, have fun with this, do what you want to do, but always trust your gut. And, like I said, I'm doing the full 8-player selection. I'm going to go through each and every single matchup and pick about 3 to 4 depending on the matchup. There are matchups I will skip because they're either just perfectly aligned with where I think they're going to be, and it's hard to tell where, they're going to fall one side or the other. So, just one second. So yeah, there is that. So, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Starting with Atlanta at Indianapolis, that 8:30 Central Time game. It's going to be a good one. I like this matchup a lot. Colts have one of the best records in football behind the Broncos, only because the Broncos played on Thursday. They look like a very, very, very good team. So, let's just kind of... Let me log into this real quick. Hold on one second. We're just going to focus on me for a second while I log in because I don't want you guys to see all my fun stuff. So, let's go ahead and do that. Oh my God. Okay. Oh, this is fun, isn't it? Always fun when stuff does not go exactly as planned, isn't it? Okay, there we go. Let's go in there. Does it have me logged in? No. Okay, there we go. Oh my God. I'm sorry. This is the most fun thing ever, but I promise you it will be worth it. Nobody's currently watching, so if you're watching this on playback, just fast forward for a little bit just because while I try to figure this out. There we go. Okay, now I'm on the right thing. All signed in. Here we go. Okay, so let's just look at a couple things for both teams. So we got the Falcons. They have the 27 points allowed to quarterback. So they're decent against quarterback, giving up 11 to running backs and 26 to wide receivers and 32nd against the tight end. So when I read that, I'm looking at Tyler Warren as not as much of a secure option in this week. So we got to keep that in mind. But let's jump over to the Colts. 18th against quarterback, 26th against running back, 9th against wide receiver, and 4th against the tight end. So, looking at those defensive matchups, again, those aren't going to be the gospel. Obviously, there are going to be players who, outdo the projections even against a good defense just because they're that kind of player. So, we have to keep that in mind. The problem with this matchup is that there are a lot of players that match that. A lot of players who are so talented that can definitely beat these matchups that it's going to be hard to decipher what's the safer and what's the, riskier plays here. So, if we look at this, I'm liking Kyle Pitts a lot. I know it's hard, but look at where his target share was and how he's been doing better each and every week, except for last week against New England. They're a better team, but you're going against the fourth, best team to go against tight ends. You are going to get your share, I think. When I look at this, it's pretty decently, set. I like the receptions. I like the targets. The yards are intriguing. Not my favorite, but definitely in that realm of possibility. And that's the thing. Everything is within his wheelhouse here. But where I'm going is I think the targets are going to be there. No, I think it's receptions. Let's go receptions. I think the receptions are going to be there just because, again, they give up the most points to tight ends. They definitely have Kyle Pitts has the opportunity to get 5 receptions. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. Even with Mooney, even with London, even with Bijan, I think they can get Kyle 5. I'm not crazy afraid of that. Let's look at Tyler, just see where they're at. And again, they got him pretty much right where he should be. 5.5 targets, 4.5 receptions. Like he's right there. And going against a good defense, that's what I'm saying. I'm leaning off him a bit there. But looking at the other two here that I really like is Jonathan Taylor, obviously. He is their workhorse. He is their guy. He is going to get his touches. He is going to get his opportunity. But as you can see, against the Pittsburgh defense, he fell flat. And again, that whole Colts team fell flat in that game. Going against Atlanta, which again gives up the 11th most points to running backs, I think this is going to be less likely. I think it's more going to be in this ballpark. Not the 3 touchdowns, obviously. That would be incredible for him. But I think like 94 yards is where I definitely see him being around. So that 92.5 rush yards, I think is definitely possible. But I'm going to go with the touchdown because I think that's just the safer floor at this point. He is able to, fall into the end zone. The Colts are able to get to the goal line and basically just feed him the ball, whether it's passing it to him, running it to him. He's able to get those touches, so I'm going to go back to the well, especially after last week. With that dud, I think they're going to try to feed him and get him back to the point where he is looking like, RB1 again. So I think this is going to be a good bounce back game for JT. Bijan, again, he's been up and down. It's been a disappointing fantasy season if you took him 1-1. And I apologize to anyone who's done that. But it's just hard to see this. It is hard to see where he realistically could go, again, against the Colts team that has given up the 26th fewest points to running backs. So with that, I'm going to take the lower on the 116 rushing and reception. I don't see it this week. I love Bijan. I loved him as a prospect. I love him as a fantasy player. I love everything about him, but just, I don't know. International game is weird. And that's the other thing I forgot to mention. International games are weird. So all this could happen. It could all not happen. That's a crazy part. Kyle Pitts performs in London. So that's why I also kind of like him. So this is where I am with this matchup. Honestly, this is one of those ones where it's pretty well established. The only other guy I'd be looking at is London here. But yeah, London's not bad. He's got a ton of targets. So what is his target at? 8.5? Okay. He's done that every single week. He's their guy. 8.5. Okay. So there we go. There's my 4. And I like basically every single one of them. There's not one that I'm not like, oh my God, this is horrible. So we're just going to enter this one. Let's start the morning off right. Little $13, wager here to win. So let's go ahead. Those are the 4 there. So let's go ahead and get out of that matchup. Let's get to our normal slates here. Buffalo, Miami. It's sad for the Dolphins because I think McDaniel will be fired by the end of the year. They're going to go into full rebuild mode. They're going to have to figure out what they're going to have to do with Tua. So it's just sad to see them fall from grace. With that said, I am pushing every Bills player I can. James Cook, he's the guy going against a bad team. 86.5 is where he's at. Don't think that's not doable. 99 yards catching and receiving. Again, something very doable, but I'll just hammer that 86.5. Why not just try for the 87 yards? Something he can do, because let's even look at Miami here as a defense. They've given up the 6th most points to running back, 8th most points to quarterbacks, wide receiver 32nd, and I don't think that's because that they're not able to do so. It's that I don't think teams are throwing the ball because they get up so quickly. 5th against tight ends. So it's hard to argue not playing your players against the depleted Dolphins. Then you look at the other side, 31 points quarterbacks. They do have a weakness at running back at 8th here. They give up points to running back. So there is the Achane play does look doable. But 22 to wide receiver, that's just, it's not going to get it done. And especially in a game like this where I don't see them being able to really stop Buffalo. I think the dominance is going to be there. But with that said, I'm looking at this man right here. 101 rushing and receiving. I think that's a little high. So let's go ahead and change that. Let's get the 89 and just take the higher on that. I know you're going to take a ding. You're going to not get as much money, but I just think that's a safer floor there. 90 yards rushing and receiving because he gets out of the backfield. Buffalo's weakness is stopping running backs. I think this is Achane's time to basically get some touches here, and it also enables you to be able to play everyone else from Buffalo. So it's basically build your own adventure at this point. Like, Josh, where do you feel comfortable with him? The problem is 231 I think is doable. I think every single thing here is very doable for him. The only issue is that how ahead are they going to be, and are they going to be, is Josh going to play the whole game? I don't think so. I think they're going to ease off. They're not going to throw the ball as much. They're not going to, be hammering it home. I think this is just going to be a dominant game, so it's hard with Josh here. Because look what he's done with other bad teams. 180, 163. Against KC, a good team where it was back and forth. He got that 273. New England, 253. Again, a good team. But New Orleans, 209. So again, playing against bad teams, he doesn't crack that 231 number. He stays lower because, again, they're usually up. So I'm going to take that lower on Josh. Not that I don't think he can do it. I just think it's a high ceiling, a high marker for him to hit on a team that he should be dominating hands down. Where was Miami against tight end? Because I thought they were bad. Yes, they are. They're bad at tight end. So, again, Kincaid is also in play here. He is a favorite target of Josh Allen's. They're not giving you targets. Is he hurt right now? Because puts it all together. Okay, I don't think he's hurt. So it's weird that they're not giving us targets. But that is A-okay. All right, let's see what Knox is at. Let's go Shakir. Him and Shakir have been getting really chummy. 6.5 targets. Very doable. Even against bad teams. 7, 5. New Orleans, 5. Yeah, I think it's doable. I think that's doable. We're going to take that. They're going to have to throw at some point. So those would be my 4 right here. So we're going to take those higher on James Cook rushing yards. Changing Achane's down to 89.5, getting that higher, taking Josh lower on the 231.5, and getting Shakir at the higher at 6.5. Those would be my 4 there. And just to let anyone know who is new here, sometimes when I favorite these, they don't save. So then I have to go back and try to remember everything I'm talking about. So at the end of the video, when we actually put these wagers in, if that happens, just realize that's what's going on. All right. Moving on, Baltimore, Minnesota. Let's just look at where we're at here. Baltimore, 9th most points to quarterback, 4th most to running back, 6th most to wide receivers, 19th to tight ends. It's an exploitable defense, so we're going to be looking at Minnesota. Minnesota, on the other hand, for Baltimore players, let's see, 20th against quarterback, 22nd against running back, 24th against wide receiver, 12th against tight end. So, obviously, Vikings have a much better defense than the Ravens do. The question is where are we at with the quarterback situation of J.J. McCarthy? He is coming back this week after Carson Wentz basically blew out his shoulder. He did okay last week. Again, a bounce-back game. He's threw 2 touchdowns, which is great. But it's just hard to get a read on him. This is the perfect defense for him to basically get a bounce-back game. Let's go ahead and go with the 1.5 touchdowns more. Again, this isn't my favorite pick. I usually save my favorite pick first, but I just wanted to see where his line was, after last week, coming back from his injury and everything to that degree. We're going to ride with Jay Jetta here. But where? That is the main question. Because 9.5, again, that's pretty healthy. We'll go... God, this is hard. Because I don't like taking lowers. It's not my favorite thing to do because then you're just rooting for a bad game. And it's I think that's just bad karma, you know what I mean? So I don't like taking lowers. I like to try to find the higher, but yeah, I'm going to take 75.5 higher because Detroit's a good defense. Chargers are a decent, okay defense. So going against those games, it makes sense. Everything else he's done very well on, even against Philadelphia, he hit that. Going against the Ravens, who are a bad team, with them trying to get J.J. McCarthy back into, form, I think this is where he's going to be. I always like looking at Lamar for his rushing ability. 40 yards, 39 yards, but basically 40 yards is what we're looking at. That's tough. That's really tough, especially because 20th fewest points to quarterbacks. That's a hard one. Because we got to get one Raven. That's what always sucks, is you can't just hammer home one side. So... yeah, it's hard because there's no one that's really like standing out there like, absolutely. Derrick Henry, like, good game against Miami. Don't get me wrong, but he has not been what he's been every season. Like, Ramsey did good, but look at that. Houston, 33. Kansas City, 42. I know it's only on 8 attempts, but still. 71 against Chicago. 17.5 rushing attempts. We'll take that. I like that. 17.5 rushing attempts. I like that. Because they're going to have to try to get him running just to open up the pass game. So I don't mind that one. So let's go back to the well of Vikings players. Wide receiver, again, I think is a very exploitable position in this game. But don't love that. What's Aaron at? We'll take the 40 on that. That one's risky. It's the riskiest one of the 4, I think. But I think that's doable. I think in this situation, that's absolutely doable. So we would take those 4 there for this matchup again. Some of these seem pretty secure, but others, like the Aaron Jones, is a little more risky, but I don't hate it. I like that one, actually. All right, moving on to New England, Tampa Bay, which should be one of the more exciting, higher-scoring games of the slate. Let's even see what they're at here real quick. Let's just take a look and see what the lines are currently. Let's see. NFL Week 10. Okay. All right. So let's just look at... Tampa's only 2.5. What's the total? What is the total? I don't care who's the favorite. I want the total. There we go. Okay. Total. 48.5. Okay. And Buccaneers are the dogs in this. So let's go ahead and look at Tampa Bay and New England real quick. So New England, they've got 22nd fewest points to quarterbacks, 29th to running back, 15th to wide receiver, but they do have weakness to tight end. On the other side of that ball, we got Tampa Bay, 19th fewest to quarterbacks, 12th most running backs, 21st fewest to wide receivers, and 18th to tight end. So Tampa Bay's weakness looks to be running back when it comes to fantasy. So let's just take a look. And it's a situation I hate getting in because this man deserves to get the ball. I don't understand what is going on in New England. They finally are starting to feed him, and he's doing decently. So, this is their weakness. This is what I want to exploit out of this defense of Tampa Bay's. So, where do I feel comfortable? His totals are still so low, and it's not fair to judge him on Tennessee getting only 2 touches. 9 touches for 27, 6 for 24. When he gets double digits, he at least breaks that. So I think he's going to get that. He's going to lead on Sunday, it looks like, or on track to lead. So if he's leading that backfield, then how do you not trust him to get that if that's Tampa's weakness? You know what I mean? So we'll go ahead. Trust Trevion. It's a scary situation, but let's go ahead and trust it. Moving over to Mbuka, because he's Baker Mayfield's favorite target. Let's be honest. He has been targeted, but he is not getting the yards or touchdowns that he was a few weeks ago. I don't know if that's because defenses are figuring it out or what, but it's tough. This is tough. Because New England's weakness would be considered tight end. Wide receiver second. Giving up the average of the league at 15. So let's go ahead. Let's go for it. 9.5 targets. Again, in a game that should be more of a shootout than anything. It should be more of a game that, comes down to bang bang plays, mistakes being made, everything to that degree. So I like that one. He's gotten a touchdown in the past 2 weeks. I don't know if I can trust that to continue going forward. You know what I mean? That's not a basis to be able to be consistent. Targets are also high too. So let's move off Stephon. I think the targets are a little too high, especially with somebody like Douglas who gets a ton of targets, it looks like. Or it feels like, rather. Especially last week. Yeah. And then where's Booty? Where's Booty hurt? I think Booty's hurt. Okay, that actually changes Diggs' opinion then. I'll take that 6.5 targets if Booty's hurt. Let's just see. He is rolled out. Okay. So, Booty's out. I'll take that Diggs 6.5 targets because Diggs is going to be the more likely replacement there. Plug and play. Douglas is good, but I like that Diggs movement there. Since Tampa Bay has a weakness at tight end. Or no, excuse me. I got that mixed up. Since New England has the weakness at tight end. Let's look at Otten. He is a good, reliable target for Baker Mayfield. His total's 42.5, which he does do pretty well. And this is their weakness. Let's take that higher. I want to take that reception yards at 43.5. Again, out of the 4, it's the one I'm least confident in, but I still think is doable. So those would be my 4 there if I'm playing this matchup here. So let's move on from that there and move on to the next matchup, which is the New York Football Giants against the Bears. And I am hammering Jackson Dart this week. I like Jackson Dart as a prospect. I called that he should have been the starter over Russell Wilson from the beginning. So this is a game for him to basically prove himself against another up-and-coming team that has weaknesses. If you look at the Bears here, they give out the 6th most points to quarterback, 14th most to running back, 3rd most to wide receivers, and 11th most to tight ends. Looking at the Giants, on the other hand, 7th most to quarterback, 2nd most to running back, 7th most to wide receivers, 22nd most to tight ends. So, Giants can't stop the run and can't really stop quarterback or wide receiver. Chicago can't stop quarterback and wide receiver, but do pretty decently against the run. So, let's keep that in mind. With that, I think Dart is going to do what he's been doing pretty much every week and just dominate games. I wish they would give me a total TD. Instead of just passing TD, I want total because he runs the ball, and I would take that. So, I'm still going to take the 1.5 higher passing because, again, this is going to be one of those games that both teams are trying to solidify their new identities. They are going to be going in there and, basically beating the hell out of each other. 46.5 is where it's now. It opened at 48.5. So they were expecting about 50 points before injury reports and everything like that. It's a 50-50 shot of winning. So they see it going either way. So that means, to me, it's going to be a shootout. So I want to get Jackson in there, trust my gut on that. And since they can't stop wide receivers either, let's go ahead and get Wandell in there too. He's been getting targeted. He's been able to get the ball ever since Neighbors went down. So let's go ahead and take that 10 targets. Yeah, Philly's scary, but... See, now I'm talking myself out of it because I think the receptions are better. I like the receptions a lot better. 6 receptions. I like that. I'll take that. It's where he's basically, that's basically his average. So I'll take 6 on this matchup. Let's go with that. But I also want to go on the other side of the ball. I like Caleb. The Giants don't do good against quarterbacks. This is an opportunity for Caleb to basically, not shut people up, but get more confidence in his playability. So where are we at with Caleb? That's the question. He had a great game last week. Even the week before, very good game. No touchdowns, but still was able to get those yards. He's been performing pretty decently. And 222 just seems way too low for that. I just think that's way too low for this game. So I'm going to take the higher on that. 222 for Caleb Williams for a team that can't stop the wide receiver. But I'm also going to look at Swift. 48.5 rushing yards to a team that has given up the second most to the position. Swift was out last week, and, he did, I can never say that kid's name, but Kyle, the backup, did great. He is listed as questionable. So let's just see where we're at. You didn't practice Friday. Okay. I am going to lean off that then. As much as I love Swift in this, if he didn't practice Friday, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. Are they giving Kyle? Okay. They are giving Kyle. Hot hand may determine workload. Okay, well, the hot hand got 176 yards last week. So let's go ahead and take that higher on him. Again, if you don't make your tickets today and wait till tomorrow and wait till the injury reports, which is obviously the smarter thing to do, then check that situation. If he is the starter, I don't think 52.5 is crazy. And I like all 4 of these. I don't really feel like any of these 4 are out of the realm of possibility. So let's go ahead and just lock that up. Get another one in there. Again, the only one that can really screw me on that is that if Kyle is not the starter or they don't give him the ball. One of the more questionable games on the slate here, Saints Carolina. Why it's questionable is it's one of those matchups where Carolina's better than people give them credit for, especially me. I thought last week that the Packers were just going to destroy them and it wasn't even going to be close, but they came out and kicked the shit out of the Packers. So, Saints should be a similar situation where Carolina dominates them, but again, it's hard to say. Yes, the Saints just got rid of Shaheed, so that's going to be that's going to be what are they doing in this game with that? Because basically it's going to go down to Olave and, well, that's interesting. They still have him. Wish I could take the lower on that. I think Juwan Jennings will get more touches. And you're going to rely on Brandon Cooks. I mean, nothing against Cooks, but it's not a matchup I love. Tet also popped up on the injury report. Where are they getting? Coach concerned my hamstring. So, yeah, if he's out, this is too much of a minefield for me. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to avoid this matchup just because on paper, it feels like it should be a much better game to go on, but with the injuries to the star players, a lot of question marks going around it. I'm just going to avoid that for right now. I'll check back tomorrow. Trust your guts because obviously I like Rico Dowell. Should eat. Even with Chubb there, he still got 130 and 2 touchdowns. So I would take the higher on Dowell. Just said I'm going to avoid it, but then here I go again. Let's look at Young. Ugh, God, his numbers are ugly. So ugly. That's just it. I like Rico Dowell to get a touchdown. So if you're looking to play multiple slates and just sprinkle somebody in, Rico on a touchdown I think is the most likely. So there you go. There's something from that game because the rest of it is just, everyone's so lowly projected that it could literally be a game where everyone hits those numbers, but it also could be a game that's just complete ass. So, all right. Before we tackle this matchup, I always have to put the disclaimer. I am a Texans fan, and I do look at that team with a little more rose-colored glasses. I try to be realistic with them, obviously, because you got to swallow that when you are playing, for money and things like that. So just with a caveat to that. Looking at this matchup, it's hard because they do not have CJ Stroud playing in this game due to a concussion last week. Are they even giving Davis Mills? They are giving Money Mills some lines. So let's see. 214's high. 2 passing touchdowns is high. 5 rushing. That's interesting. Oh, God. It's ugly. It's just ugly, ugly, ugly. But I'm always going to go to the well of Nico and just look where he's at. 7.5 targets. Even without CJ last week, got 11. I think that's a pretty safe floor of getting 6. Again, got hurt that game. Other than that, he basically hit everything. So, going to heart that for Nico. 6 receptions. I think that's definitely doable with a backup quarterback who's going to trust his number 1 target in somebody like Nico Collins. How do they have Jacoby Myers here, but they have Shaheed still on the Saints? Jesus. They're bringing in Jacoby Myers. Let's see. Shift to Jacksonville. Are they saying he's going to start? No, they're not talking anything about his starting potential. Okay. We have no idea what his relationship is going to be with Trevor Lawrence. Jesus, why was I blanking on his name? We have no idea what the relationship's going to be. So it's hard to tell. But if you're feeling frisky, that lower, I think, is more realistic. He's still got to learn the playbook. He's still got to do all those things. So I don't think they're going to just trot him out there. So I think that's doable. Trevor going against one of the best defenses in the league. Because let's look at Houston. They've given up the least amount to quarterbacks, 21st least to running backs, the 30th when it comes to points towards wide receiver, and 29th to tight end. They're a very, very good shutdown defense. 15.5 fantasy points. We're going to trust our gut here because I don't think he's gotten that. He's gotten that before. Okay. Oh, God. He's gotten that a lot. That seems low. It's just hard. I don't think he's going to be able to do everything he normally does. But 204 just seems too low. You're going to have to take that higher. That just seems way too low. Even against a good defense like the Texans. I mean, he's played the Texans. So let's just see. Texans, Jags. Okay. So let's just see what he did. He's already played the Texans, so we can actually see. He did 222 against this defense. That seems to be about his average. So, yeah, I'm going to hammer home that 204. Getting 205 yards doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility for T-Law. Even without Travis Hunter, I don't think that's crazy. So, I like that 204. The dark horse in this matchup, I think, is going to be Xavier Hutchinson. Him and Mills have had a relationship because Hutchinson usually does work with the second team. 20 yards. He's been catching fire. I'm going to take that risk. I'm gambling on that to get those 20 yards, but I think him being that option, even with Kirk back, is doable. Just because I think him and Mills will have that connection, and I don't think that's not, doable. But let's look at Kirk. I'll take 4 receptions. It's what he has done the last 2 weeks, so yeah, let's go ahead. So there we go. It is a lot on the receivers. And again, this isn't the smartest strategy because you're basically having to predict exactly what's going to happen in this game. And the totals are low. But 20 yards is 1 catch. 4 catches for Kirk and 6 balls towards Nico. I think that's absolutely doable. So those would be my 4 for this matchup. Again, with a Davis Mills quarterback who, yeah, he isn't CJ Stroud, but he is not the worst option as far as backup quarterbacks go. He has experience in the system. He has experience with these players. So we're banking on the fact that he can basically, rely on that. So that's where we are with that. All right, moving on to the Cleveland Browns and the New York Football Jets. So Jets, 11th against quarterback, 9th against running back, 23rd against receiver, and 16th against tight end. On the other side of that ball, we got Cleveland, 26th against quarterback, 31st against running back, 13th against wide receiver, and 17th against tight end. So, what that tells us, Cleveland can stop the run. They can't stop the pass. The Jets can stop the receiver. They can't stop the running back or quarterback. So, if the Jets can't stop the running back, we're going to take one of the most explosive running backs of this rookie draft class in Judkins. He had a terrible game against the Patriots. But where were the Patriots at against the run? They were pretty decent, right? 29th. So you're going from 29th to going against the 9th. So, let us take a look here. I know this may sound crazy. I like him getting in the end zone this week. I like Judkins getting in the end zone this week. Just with how bad the Jets are. Giving up that many fantasy points to the running back position with a running back who is a very good player just seems like him getting in the end zone is almost an inevitability. You know what I mean? So I'm riding with my gut there, giving him the end zone. The problem is they haven't named his starter yet, I don't think. Yeah, he hasn't named his starter. I think he's doing it at game time. Fantastic. So, if Fields is a starter, where's his rushing? They're not even giving me rushing yards? Okay, 36. I'd take the lower on that. I would take the lower on that for sure. Just with how good Cleveland is against the run and quarterback position, I think that is pretty decent. But again, I'm going to leave it off just because they haven't named the starter yet, so I'm not going to put money to something that is basically a landmine. So, moving on, Garrett Wilson is going to be a target machine. He missed last week. Or he's missed a few weeks, actually. So he's coming back. Let's get his targets back. I think they're going to try to feed him. Cleveland has a weakness against the wide receiver, as we've seen here. So let's get him those targets against a quarterback who really can't do much. Those would be my three again. It depends on the field starts, because I just don't feel comfortable with everybody else. Where's Njoku at? Yeah, see, everything's pretty decently set. Yeah, those would be my three. Wilson, Judkins, and Fields, depending on if Fields starts. So just check that back tomorrow. But that does it for the morning slate. So let's go ahead. Let's move into the afternoon. Arizona, Seattle. Should be a very fun game. Divisional matchup. Looking at Marvin Harrison. He has blossomed with Jacoby Brissett being his quarterback. Look at that. Just look at that. That is why Kyler Murray is not becoming the starter. I mean, yeah, he had a good game against the Seahawks, but we're going to take this. But the question is what do we take? Because, yeah, we can take the targets, but there's no bonus. If we take the receptions, there's a bonus. But the question is he going to get that kind of workload? Because let's look at Seattle in general. 25th fewest points to wide receivers. Seattle's got a good defense. So that's where it's tough, where I'm like, 5 catches is hard. But looking his way and just tossing it to him 8 times, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. I like the bonus, don't get me wrong. That bonus is very tempting. I'm going to regret it, but I think it's the receptions. I think the receptions is a smarter play. Just to get that bonus, get that temptation in there. So let's go ahead and go with that. Trey McBride is another player. Again, trying to script out the game here. But he's a reliable target. I think he's going to get in the end zone here. Again, I think that's the weakness of Seattle, is not being able to guard the tight end. Yeah, they give up the 9th most points to him. So I think he's going to feast this week as always. But let's look at the other side of the ball in Seattle. Again, Arizona is not very good against... Oh, no, there. It was tight end I was looking at. They're decent at the wide receiver position. But again, is that because that teams are up on them or not? So I'm looking at JSN. He's broken 100 yards every single game in the last 4 weeks. He's at 95.5. 10.5 targets, my God. Let's take the 99.5 receiving yards. He's his favorite target. Even with Shaheed there, I don't think he's really going to eat into his target. And then Shaheed's here. I love it. I love it. Okay, so let's just look at Shaheed. The question with him is, how are they going to use him? He is in a similar boat where he's learning the playbook just like Jacoby Myers is. Is he going to be able to just plug and play? I don't think so. So I'm going to lean off of him, even though I like the acquisition. I think he is going to play very well there. But just not this week. I want to see how he does first. Some people will jump head first, and I respect that kind of dedication, but I don't know. I don't know if I can trust that. Running back's the other position, but Seattle's problem is that they share the ball with Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet. And Charbonnet has looked pretty decent with his opportunities. So yeah, I'm leaning off that. I think those three would be good. I like Darnold, but again, where's the passing yards at? It's something he does do. If I were to do four, I would take the higher on the passing yards. But again, that's if I'm doing 4 from this matchup, which I'm probably not. I'm probably only going to do 1 or 2. But those would be my 4 here in this matchup. So let's go ahead and get rid of those. Rams and Niners. We got 2 NFC matchups. Love it. 2 NFC West matchups. Very good teams. Evenly matched. Same record. So we got the Rams. Stingy against quarterbacks. Stingy against running backs. Their weakness is wide receiver. Decent against tight end. San Francisco, on the other hand, average against quarterback. Below average on running back. Or above average on running back, excuse me. Below average on wide receiver. And way above average on tight end. So, it's a hard prediction here. You like McCaffrey only for his receiving ability because, again, they stopped the run. Look at what Houston did to him. He was able to bottle up. They were able to bottle him up, and he was only the 21st ranked. They're the only 21st ranked defense. It's the first week I'm really like, I'm going to lean off of CMC. This should be a matchup that it is a little more there. But I like the other running back in Kyron Williams getting that touchdown. He's their reliable target or reliable weapon. Gets the ball frequently, gets in the end zone. San Francisco, I think this is going to be a very physical game. It's not going to be a, just shootout, high scoring. Like, it's going to be a physical, hard hitting game, as the Rams, Niners usually are. So I like him getting in the end zone. I also like Nakua getting his targets. He came back from injury, almost there. I think this is another week where they're going to throw the ball a lot, and I think he does get those 10 targets. I think he's going to get back to his form. Looking at San Francisco, I think Kittle is one of those Achilles heels when it comes to a lot of defenses, but again, they have him well suited. That's the problem. They have him very well marked. So let's get off Kittle. How's he been doing? And again, they got him pretty well marked. I wish I could just fall in love with one of the Niners, but they have everything pretty much perfect this week for certain matchups. What's his attempts at? 36? Ooh, that's high. But that's what he did last time against the Rams. Let's go for it. 252. Let's trust it. He has already done it against the Rams, so Let's go one more time. Let's trust that well. Again, it's not my favorite pick, but it is. He has the track record of doing it, so I'm going to trust that. Let's look at Devontae as well. Yeah, his yards aren't there. Targets. No, let's just keep it at 3. I don't want to push it too hard. I'm going to keep it at 3. So let's go ahead. Those would be my 3 there for that matchup. Again, that should be a very good game. There's a lot of games on the slate I'm very excited about, that being one of them, obviously. All right, moving on to Detroit and Washington. Last game of the afternoon slate. Looking at these defenses, Detroit, 10th against quarterback, 30th against running back, 8th against wide receiver, and 20th when it comes up to points given up. And looking at that other side of the ball, we have the Commanders at giving up the 4th most to quarterback, 16th most to running back, 5th most to wide receiver, 6th most to tight end. So you know where we're going here. Where was their running back? Because it was still pretty high, I think 16th. Okay, so they're about average on running back. Jahmyr Gibbs is an above average player. He had a terrible game against Minnesota. I think this is a bounce back for him. I think he gets back in the end zone, so let's trust that right there. Obviously, I'm going to be hammering the Lions. That's blatantly obvious. So let's find the Commanders player that actually has a decent, line. He is just falling off a cliff. It makes me so sad. He had a great few games and they give up 30th. Yeah, don't like that. Don't like that at all. And Mariota's a starter. We always forget that because Daniels got hurt. Okay. 10th most quarterback. I think this would be the place to attempt. Let's get to 203. That'd be my one Washington player, 203. I think he can do it. The only thing that makes me nervous is he basically has Debo and Ertz. I'll trust it. I will trust it. All right, looking at Amon-Ra, obviously 9.5 targets. He's done it the last 3 weeks. I'm not even going to question this one. This one just seems like, all right, seems very doable, very trusting of that. Again, my fear with these games, with these quarterbacks, is always, are they going to play the whole game? Total's at 50, so they're expecting a high-scoring game, but are they... They're 6-point favorite. Okay. $250 is his base. I'll take that. I'm taking that. I like that a lot for Goff. I think that's definitely in his wheelhouse. Think he can absolutely do that. So those would be my 4 for the end of the afternoon slate here. All right. Get out of here, Jared. I know you want me to play you. Okay. Sunday night, we got Pittsburgh, Los Angeles Chargers. Looking at the chart. Oh, damn it. All right. Well, I just X'd out of that screen, so give me a second. Love this for me, right? Okay, we are back. So, if we look at the Chargers real quick, they have given up the 30th least amount of points to quarterback, 17th to running back, 29th to wide receiver, 28th to tight end. On that other side of the ball, though, we got Pittsburgh. Sorry, stretching a little bit. Tale of a completely different team. They've given up the 5th most points to quarterbacks. They do hold running backs. They're only giving up the 24th most points. Wide receiver, 4th. Tight end, 3rd. That means I am hammering home the wide receivers and quarterback of the Los Angeles Chargers. 8.5 targets. Yeah. I think that's doable. I think that's the thing. Because if you look at this Tennessee game, it goes back to bad team, not in it, almost got there. Minnesota, good team, 10. Indianapolis, good team, 15. Miami, good team, not a good team, 9. Like, I think this is doable where they're going to be in this game. So let's go ahead and just take his targets. He's Herbert's favorite target. Warren has been up and down. He gets in the end zone or he gets yards. That's the problem. Those are his 2 settings. He doesn't... Going against a Chargers team that's good, I don't know if I want that. We have to find a Pittsburgh player. So let's just see. DK. I think targets are high there. I think targets are really high there. We'll take the lower there. Again, it's something he's only done twice. Once against the Browns, once against Green Bay, but good team, 4. Bengals, terrible team, but still 5. Minnesota, good team, 5. Yeah, 7 seems like a lot. So let's just stick that lower with DK. All right, back to the Chargers. Where is Herbert? I think he gets 2 TDs here. Let's get the 2 passing TDs here because, again, Pittsburgh, it is a weakness. They've given up a ton of points to quarterback, so let's go ahead and trust that. And then Vidal is the other one. He had a down week last weekend against the Colts. Again, the Tennessee Titans, there's no excuse. One of the worst defenses in the league, and he only got 30. Ooh. 53. And it seems he follows that pattern. Bad game, good game. Bad game, good game. Bad game. So let's hope good game. 53.5. Again, it's my 4th out of 4. But those would be my picks there. Okay, and last but not least, Green Bay, Philadelphia. I'm going to be honest, this is one I'm avoiding. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is a game that is too unpredictable for me. It depends on what version of both teams show up. It depends on so many factors that I just don't feel comfortable with yet making decisions, especially with the injury report not coming out yet. Because again, Panthers just kicked the shit out of not kick the shit out of, but for the Panthers winning a game, you're going to get the shit kicked out of you. So the Panthers beat the hell out of the Packers. The Eagles, on the other hand, they made good deals. They got Jalen Phillips. They're going to be rushing the ball. They're going to be playing good defense, and their offense is good. I don't know what to do. So that's why I'm just avoiding that game as of now. I may wake up Monday morning and make some decisions, but oh, please, God. Every damn time. Every damn time. Okay. Okay, let's just look at what we were looking at. Like Pitts. Always like Pitts. Love the Pitts. Getting there. So let's build our morning slate. God, that's so annoying. That is so annoying. James Cook, 86.5. We're taking that. I think that's my favorite. I don't know why I'm hearting him anymore because I'm literally right here. Okay, Baltimore, Minnesota. Yeah, let's go with it. Yep, I like that. Okay, New England, Tampa Bay. It was Diggs. I think Diggs is with the injury to Booty. I think Diggs is the play here. Okay. I like Mbuka too. Okay, but let's try to get one guy each game. That way we only have to root for certain situations. We don't have to root for, perfection. Dart in those. I just like Dart this game. He's become a darling. I like that kid a lot. All right, New Orleans, Carolina. Like I said, I avoided it, but the only one I liked is Dowdle getting a touchdown. I think that's doable. Jacksonville, Houston, 7.5 just seems way too low for Nico. And last but not least, Cleveland and the Jets. Cleveland and the Jets. Okay. He was injured. Let's go ahead and go for it. Let's go for it. Get a booster going. $5 for $527. Let's go. Confirming. There we go. That is what I like tomorrow. That is something that I just feel like is very doable. Very, very doable. All right. So let's move on over to the afternoon slate. And this one, obviously, if we just do afternoon, we have 3 games to choose from. So we have to obviously double up in this situation. Loving the targets. Been saying it for a while. Like Marvin Harrison. Or did I go receptions? Yeah, receptions. Let's go receptions just because there's that bonus. I want to attack that bonus. McBride getting in the end zone. I just think that's the weakness of the Seahawks. And JSN getting 95.5 yards. Okay. So 3 out of that game. Williams getting a touchdown. There's no bonus for that. That's the part that blows my mind. Okay. 9.5 targets here. I'll go for reception for Devontae. Again, divisional game. Weird things happen. So there's that. All right. And last but not least, Detroit, Washington. I just like Amon-Ra getting his targets way more. I just really like that. I just like Goff getting 250. I just think those are the two in this matchup. So, afternoon slate for $253. This is what we're running with. Again, don't hate it. Those would be my 2 tickets. So let's go ahead. Now that we have all of that, like always, we are going to make a college football ticket just to make Saturday a little more fun. Again, I am not an expert in college football. I just want to get in here. What is the... Just one single favorite. Sure. Is this kid a backup or something? Yeah, he is. Hate to see that from Mizzou. Against A&M. I don't like any of these. I don't want to do that. You can discount them all you want. It's not discounted enough. Oof. All right. Indiana, Penn State. It's ugly. It's so ugly. Not him. The line. Huh. In the eye of the beholder, I guess. But he's done 28 both times. Don't like that. The Ohio State against Purdue. Two and a half? You want 2.5? F that. I can't even go lower? That's annoying. I think that's doable. I think he's going to do it, but it's just... That is a hard, pill to swallow. What can Eloise passing yards to? 269. I'll take the higher on that. Jeremiah Smith for 2 TDs. Let's take the higher on his rushing yards because Penn State just got ran over by Bo Jackson. So let's take that. Okay. Oregon, Iowa. I'm always going to take my Oregon Ducks here. So, threw no touchdowns against Wisconsin because he got hurt. He's good to go this week. Okay. Let's get a bounce back for him. Let's get those 2 TDs there. Iowa, on the other hand, 132 seems low. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to touch that kid. Oh, I wouldn't touch any kid, but you get what I'm saying. I'm not touching that projection for that kid. Okay. KU, Arizona. He's always intriguing. He's always intriguing. Going against an Arizona team, I just hate taking touchdowns. I hate taking touchdowns. Duke, Connecticut. 300? 300? All right, let's go for it. Connecticut's usually not good. Let's drop it a little. Can we drop it a little? Oh, we can drop it a lot. Let's go 259. Okay. Against the Connecticut team that isn't very good. How many more? I only have 4. Freaking A. Okay. Stanford at UNC. I hate this. I hate this. It's just so freaking hard sometimes. Let's go with that. 240. Auburn, Vanderbilt. This should be a very good game. Diego is so hard every week because he puts up numbers like that some weeks and then fucking like that against Mizzou. 5 touchdowns. It's hard. Scotty Fox. Just drop him down a little. Take that. Okay. Iowa State, Texas. TCU. We'll take that. Because I think TCU will be a little bit better. 278 is a lot, my guy. That's a lot. All right. That is all 8. And for $79, whatever. We're having fun. All right, that will do it. Those are my picks for this weekend, guys. Let me know how you did. Follow me on X right here at _Justin_sports. It's where I spend a lot of time here. I don't have a lot of followers and I talk a lot of nonsense, but I'm there for fun. But you can let me know what you think. If you have any questions, fantasy, daily fantasy, whatever you have, feel free to ask. Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. And until the next one, guys, have a good one and best of luck this week. Use that code TJS when you sign up at Underdog. Have a good one.